What's up guys, John Rettinger here. Today is Tuesday, June 2nd, and today is the second day of E3, the big video game conference held in Los Angeles. Now, today's keynote speakers were Nintendo, which I gave a full recap on earlier in the day, and then Sony took the stage a few hours later, following Microsoft yesterday. And what Sony had in store was very interesting, so without further ado, let's get right into it. Sony opened their keynote by talking about leaks, and that's media leaks. It was no secret if you follow the tech world that Sony was going to release a new PSP, dubbed the PSP Go, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and it was all over the internet. Video, specs, pictures. It was very interesting to see Sony actually acknowledge the leaks. And it kind of makes you wonder where these leaks are coming from. Maybe Sony is even doing it themselves to help hype up devices, or maybe even companies are leaking these things themselves to build hype. It certainly wouldn't be a surprise. So let's get into the goodness of what they started talking about. Conference just ended a few hours ago, so I got some notes in front of me, so excuse me if I'm looking down here. So first, what they announced and demoed were a ton of new games for the PS3. I mean, just an absolute ton. Some of the highlights that they announced were Uncharted 2, a new God of War game, Madden, Final Fantasy 13, Tekken, Saw, Guitar Hero Van Halen, really? Van Halen? And a new exclusive from Rockstar, the company that made Grand Theft Auto, called Agent. It's like Sony is trying to get some of their exclusives back since they lost a lot of them to the Xbox. So good for Sony for trying to push the video game exclusivity forward. More exclusive titles generally mean increased sales. So certainly they're trending in the right direction. So the next thing they announced, in the real non-surprise of E3, was the PSP Go. Essentially what that is a UMD. The UMD, if you don't know, was the little disc that held the game that you would insert into your PSP. A UMD less, so no UMD, sliding version of the PSP. And if you want to know what it looks like, go online or think Sony Milo was their internet device, except in a PSP version. It's got 16 gigabytes of online flash storage. It's got Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. And the cool things about it, since there's no physical media, all the games will be downloaded from a new PlayStation network. In addition to just being able to download full games, you'll also be able to download movies, TV shows, custom playlists, really upping the game with the PlayStation network. So that really is quite cool, actually. So look for the PSP Go. That's going to run you $249. They didn't give a release date, but they were showing the device off fully functional, so I assume it wouldn't be too far out. I should mention though that this is not going to replace the current PSP 3000. They're going to be sold next to each other. People tend to like having physical discs, and all the games that are available for download will also be available on UMD. So if you have a PSP 2000 or 3000, you'll be able just to pop it right in and still be able to play. And I wouldn't assume that all these features are going to be available on the PSP 3000, although they could certainly be updated via firmware. We're still kind of waiting on Sony to give an official word on that. They also demoed a few really cool games for this new PSP Go. They downloaded Gran Turismo, a new Metal Gear Solid game, and a new Resident Evil game, which does look to be quite cool. So the PSP Go, what do you guys think? Are you interested in it? Is it going to make you want to upgrade from your old PSP? Do you care one way or another? So leave your comments down below. They talked a little bit about PlayStation Home, which is sort of like a version of The Sims almost, where you can have an avatar, you can walk around and socialize with other PlayStation users. It's actually very cool. If you have a PlayStation, definitely give it a download. It's still available, I believe, in beta. The next thing they talked about was the PlayStation Motion Control, which is sort of like PlayStation's version of the Wii Remote, except this thing looks like an ice cream cone. Like a rectangle ice cream cone with a big red circle on top. I assumed what they showed was not the final design. It must have just been a prototype. It had to have just been a prototype because the thing was ugly. But it does have true one-to-one sensing. So when you move it just an inch or a millimeter, it'll move actually just an inch or a millimeter. Think the Wii Remote with the Wii Motion Plus attachment. That's sort of what you're getting with this new PSP motion controller. It'll be available in spring 2010, so certainly have a while to go. So the big news with the Sony's announcement today was really the non-announcements. No price cut, which I think was quite a big deal, and no no PlayStation 3 Slim that people were expecting. All I would assume that's coming at a later date. A price cut really is a big thing that a lot of people are waiting for before they jump on the PS3 train. So it was disappointing that they didn't announce it. But you are still getting a lot of value with the PS3. You're getting Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Blu-ray. Now you get the ability to download and stream movies from the PlayStation Network. It really is a very cool platform if you haven't checked it out. So now that all three conferences are over, we can surmise sort of where they all lay. Microsoft focused a lot on the hardware, Nintendo focused a lot on the software, and Sony kind of fell right in between. So guys, what do you think about the Sony announcement? Are you excited about any of it? Are you excited about the new games, the PSP Go, the PlayStation Motion Controller? Do you care? Do you not care? I'm really curious. I like talking about these new video game conferences and discussing with you guys. So please leave comments down below. And for exclusive content, be sure to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/John4Lakers. I'll see you guys next video. Bye-bye.